My name is Rachel Carter, and I'm the senior nurse on the evening shift at a private cardiology center in Philadelphia. Night shifts are usually monotonous. Quiet hallways, the steady hum of machines, and the occasional half-asleep patient. But that Thursday, everything went differently. A new patient was added to the registry, Henry Whitman, 52, post-stent checkup. When I entered his room, he was already sitting on the exam table, tall, gaunt, holding a notebook as if he'd been about to sketch something. "Good evening, Mr. Whitman," I said, checking the blood pressure cuff. "Evening, Nurse Rachel," he replied, unexpectedly gentle, as if we were old friends. His hospital gown was carelessly fastened. As I leaned in to adjust an electrode, the fabric slipped, revealing more than it should have. I quickly looked away, but the moment was already burned into my memory. "Sorry," he almost whispered, but his gaze stayed fixed. "These hospital rags are so uncomfortable." I nodded, trying to focus only on the monitor readings. A minute later, Dr. Ellis peeked in with his tablet, and I gratefully slipped out into the hallway. The shift rushed by until midnight, and I'd almost calmed down when I got a message from reception. "Patient Whitman requested you specifically for tomorrow." I was surprised. We had a dozen skilled nurses, so why me? The next evening started with a small but unsettling detail. My badge suddenly wouldn't open the supply closet, as if someone had revoked my access. While I sorted it out with security, Whitman was already waiting in the treatment room. "I don't like changing people," he said as I secured his IV. "I get used to a voice, to a touch." His words were almost innocent, but the way he said them sent a chill down my spine. I kept my tone strictly professional, but then he suddenly covered my wrist with his hand. "Rachel, want to see something interesting?" I pulled my hand away. "Mr. Whitman, please respect my boundaries." The door opened. Standing there was a woman in her 40s, businesslike, no hospital badge. Her brown eyes flicked from me to him and back. "Am I interrupting?" she asked, her voice cold. "Nora, this is my wife," Whitman said, and for the first time that evening he looked unsettled. "Excuse me, I was just finishing up," I said, and hurried out. In the hallway, my heart was pounding as if I'd run a marathon. At the nurse's station was a fresh envelope with no markings. Inside was a single sentence, cut from a magazine and glued to a card. "He's done this before." After a sleepless night, I came to work early to figure out the card. Who left it, and why? While I was thinking, the administrator handed me another envelope. Inside was a photo of a 5-year-old discharge summary. Patient, Henry Whitman, nurse complaint, inappropriate behavior. So this had been going on for years, but why was it surfacing now? That evening, as soon as I started my shift, I got a page. "Whitman complaining of pain, waiting for you." I entered his room with my phone's recorder running in my pocket. He was lying on the bed, pale, but when he saw me, he sat up and motioned for me to close the door. "Sorry about yesterday," he said. "You just remind me of someone from my past." He smiled, but there was no warmth in it. I replied with a standard line about professional boundaries. He listened politely, then said, "Want to know why my wife shows up unannounced? Because she's jealous of every woman who comes in here. You can't blame her. Once I got involved with a nurse. It ended badly for her." A sticky fear crept over me. "But with you, it'll be different," he continued, reaching for me again. At that moment, the door burst open. Nora stood there, a folder of documents in her hands. "That's enough, Henry," she said quietly. "Game over." She tossed the folder onto the bed. Photos, complaint copies, scraps of articles, a whole dossier on her husband. "I didn't collect this," she turned to me. "Your colleagues from his previous clinic did. They were too afraid to speak up until they found your profile online and realized the story was repeating. Henry went pale, glancing from me to his wife. "If you don't sign a voluntary discharge and leave right now, I'll take this to the police," Nora said. He hesitated for a second, then shook his head and started yanking out his monitor wires. I backed towards the call button. Within a minute, 2 orderlies and the on-call detective, who'd been summoned earlier when Nora handed over the evidence, entered the room. Whitman was escorted out. He didn't look back. In the hallway, Nora handed me a flash drive. "There are recordings, statements from women in other states. Give them to a lawyer, or whoever you think is right. I want nothing more to do with this man." She left. I stood in the white corridor, clutching that tiny piece of plastic, a key to someone else's secrets, and maybe to my own safety. The shift ended, but I didn't go home. I sat in the empty break room, listening to the muffled sounds of the hospital night, wondering what to do with the flash drive. Reporting it would mean becoming a piece in a long legal battle, every step on the record. Staying silent would let him walk free and start over somewhere else. It was 2 a.m. when I finally stood up, grabbed my coat and the flash drive. I didn't know if I'd head to the police station or home, but I understood one thing. Whichever road I chose, my life would never be the same.